What miHoYo has accomplished over the years is impressive, even if it is tough to see the house's success in a fully favorable light. On the one hand, Genshin Impact is a free-to-play gacha with production values incomparable to the rest of the genre, which has been able to conquer millions of players and invoice the equivalent of a small nation's GDP. On the other hand, the game's monstrous success has also cleared customs in the West for one of the most predatory and problematic forms of monetization ever, whose dangerous spread should be the subject of more serious and in-depth discussions. The Chinese squad, however, seem to care relatively little about these comments, partly because gachas are common in the Asian market and partly because the winning team never changes. After giving birth to the so-called Hoyoverse, the miHoYos are now bent on cranking out a slew more games, all based on the same principle as Genshin Impact: aggressive monetization justified by high quality in all other areas. Even if you want to follow the same path, there is always the possibility of finding really significant changes to the formula from game to game, and it is with this hope that we tried the beta of Honkai, Star Rail, a curious RPG strongly connected to the already known Honkai Impact 3rd, one of the Chinese house's first blockbusters. We discovered a completely different game from Genshin waiting for us, but not in the ways we had hoped. Even though the plot of Honkai, Star Rail is entirely unique, the world of Honkai, Star Rail is obviously linked to that of Honkai 3rd through different elements relating to the narrative background and characters. When compared to Genshin Impact, the title has a less soft impact, and individuals who have never had touch with this universe may be confused by the amount of information presented in the early stages. However, the narrative foundations are not particularly brilliant or original. You are sort of chosen one who hides an enormous power within himself, known as Stellaron, and at the start of the adventure you find yourself escaping from the attack of dangerous entities known as Antimatter Legion aboard the Astral Express, a sort of large space train that travels between galaxies. Like all RPG narratives, of course, it's a premise capable of developing in a myriad of different ways and full of potential. Only here the gacha structure of the game leads the various chapters of the story to give you, as in Genshin, control of various characters for a limited time, and we fear a noticeable tendency to water down the main stories to introduce more and more new arrivals. The fact that the game is an RPG also places it below Genshin Impact in a variety of other ways. First, the maps are much more limiting than miHoYo's rich and freely navigable ones, and thus there isn't that particularly developed exploratory aspect that led many players to tolerate more the classic, resource farming, required to slowly obtain, but inexorably, new dice rolls for the characters. Furthermore, the fighting is turn-based and is entirely centered on an intriguing system of elemental synergies and passive skills of the individual fighters. Whereas in Genshin, these synergies led to a near-maniacal quest for new warriors for their teams, they are badly constructed in this game because they are applied to a genre where tactics and skill development are typically the fulcrum of the entertaining element. The final feature, in our opinion, is that the gacha system is nearly identical to that of Genshin, with ridiculous percentages of obtaining 5-star objects or characters, 0.6% and 0.3%, respectively, and the usual pity system that guarantees a rare result for every number of shots made. There are 50 rolls this time, and if you reach 300, you get another guaranteed rare, although it's not a significant improvement over prior gachas. In comparison to past games of the house, we have noted a propensity to withhold free tickets for characters, and the gameplay of this new creature does not appear to have the essential strength to allow a continual renewal of its active group. Don't get us wrong, Star Rail's mechanics aren't horrible at all. It's a solid JRPG system with well-defined turns, and each warrior has basic attacks, special attacks, a supercharge, and passive powers. True, supers are available in real time, and add actions to classic rounds, providing tremendous benefits, and skills are highly diversified to support a creative mix of status and stun bars, so strategy is not missing in fight. The issue is that the true intricacy is all tied to the enhancement and development of the characters via items known as cones of light, which are created for the many specialities and have wide differences in effects and statistics. Obtaining and upgrading these cones, as well as your team's level, does cost the normal amount of materials, but we found the overall difficulty, at least in the early stages, to be pretty manageable even without who knows what fantastic team configurations. The protagonist's ability to freely switch classes doesn't contribute much to the overall variety, though it does appear to be much better balanced than Genshin's, if nothing else. Overall, the fights lack whatever innovative twist on the turn-based RPG idea there is. The only feature that has persuaded us, as usual, is the technological sector, because Star Rail maintains a very clean graphic style nearly identical to that of Genshin, with refined characters, a decent general art direction, and well-kept animations of the most outstanding and absolutely spectacular skills. Sure, not enough to overlook the genre's flaws, but nonetheless a standout among a lot of the competitors.